How are we doing, folks? Good morning. Happy Monday. Yeah, just to verbalize the question that was in chat, have things been confirmed for Friday? Absolutely not. Zero communication in advance, as always. I am wholly expecting a set teaser trailer on Thursday for Pokemon Day, and then cards to release promptly the next day on Friday. Is my my current expectation. The way it was originally data mined to be who? Well, I wasn't sure. I'm probably gonna have enough pack points. I'm probably gonna have enough pack points on this booster pack to get one more 2-star with pack points. And I wasn't sure what I wanted it to be, but first Volkner makes second Volkner a really good choice. That's a fun one. Gorgeous. I love full art anime, friends, chat. Sorry, I was distracted. I wouldn't be surprised, given that this set was originally data mined to be 3 packs with 200 plus cards, if they like had kind of a last minute idea, oh, let's move this release to Pokemon Day. Yeah, so I'm at 1,095 points. If packs release Friday, that means I'm gonna have 3, 6, 9. Damn, Volkner's fine. So that'll be, I'll get another 45-ish points. So I'll need to buy 2 10 pulls to get to 1250, which I'll probably do at some point. Yeah, we're going back to a split schedule with Snap and Pocket. We tried Snap for the first time in a little bit last week, and it was good. So this week we're gonna do, I'm gonna alternate a little bit on the schedule. I don't know that we're gonna be super firm in what we're gonna be doing. We'll do a little bit more Snap when there's new Snap stuff, a little bit more Pocket when there's new Pocket stuff. So Snap has the new game mode releasing for the first time in a long time tomorrow afternoon. So tomorrow, and then tomorrow afternoon we'll do a long. Tomorrow afternoon we'll do a long Snap stream, and Wednesday will be all Snap, and then Pocket's supposed to have new card packs in theory on Friday. So Friday and Saturday will just be Pocket focusing on the new card packs, I think. Co-stream with who? We're gonna be co-streaming the Pokemon live stream. Thursday is Pokemon Day, and at 8 a.m. they'll have their announcement live stream going on. Be co-streaming and reacting to that. I maxed on pack point. I maxed on Wonder Pick points, gamers, but there's really nothing else in here I need, huh? We already have it all. Yeah, I was clicking around in some Snap stuff myself now that I've been back into it, and I was surprised at how many streams I clicked into where the person largely just streams and doesn't really comment on what they're doing, and they're just chilling on with music playing in the background, and they play mostly silently. Starvid1, thank you for the entire year of support. Let's get your sword to go with that shield. So Thursday is not just Pocket specific, but I'm assuming we're going to get Pocket stuff. So it's just general Pokemon Day live stream announcement type thing. So we should get news about all Pokemon-related stuff, including Pocket Thursday morning, is the assumption. I would love to lead on a duck. Thank you for asking. Well, this is guaranteed to be a Kickmonlee, which is nice for us. We'll get an Amber. I think we'll play this out as well. We're hoping to pick up a copy of X-Speed next turn so we can pivot out to the Kickmonlee and start beating up the Magnezone in the back. Second Drudagon in the face of the Hitmonlee is an interesting choice. How to do this? Then we'll do this. Putting the energy on the Hitmonlee first gives us the flexibility to top deck X speed and pull this out while putting energy on Aerodactyl still. I don't. So like, I'm a pretty big proponent of I would enjoy the mainline Pokemon games more personally if I would enjoy the mainline Pokemon games more personally if they added things like voice acting, but I think a lot of the comments around optimization style stuff with the Pokemon games aren't really fair because what's the word I'm searching for? The Switch is kind of a potato. So like hopefully the Switch 2 being a lot more modern piece of hardware means that a lot of those types of complaints won't be nearly as drastic or as reasonable. Like you compare the Switch to like any modern smartphone and it is significantly and markedly worse. Their older games ran better compared to the new ones. Yeah, but the older games graphically were much worse, yes? Like what they were doing? I'm on 2 copies of Giovanni, so I think our out to win this game is Geo for 50 and then top deck second Geo and Aerodactyl clear. Get out from underneath this Darkrai. Any smartphone recommendations for people looking to move away from iPhone? I'm a big fan of the OnePlus devices. My house contains a OnePlus 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, and they're foldable. And the number in the middle that we're missing that I didn't list there, that one's only missing because my wife dropped it off our balcony. So we owned it at one point. Is it crazy to just give them the duck to take this hit here? I think that's the line. I think it's... Oh, you know what I should have done? Oh, I messed this up. I should have... I forgot... this is a huge mistake. I forgot I have only... Hitmonlee's actually the only Pokemon left in my deck right now. I could have communicationed into the Hitmonlee and kicked the Magnemite was the line, and then moved into kicking the Darkrai. This is actually a pretty big mistake. Hey, Bez, thank you for the 55 months. Appreciate that. Sweet. Let's go ahead and grab our Hitmonlee. And the problem with this slide now, though, is because I gave up the second knockout point on the duck. All right, sweet. We found the Geolani. That probably means we're good to go. Oh, I guess we lose to Sabrina with no way to play around it here. That's unfortunate. Yeah, the fact that I gave up a knockout point on that second, or that duck was a big deal. I should have communicated for this last turn, and then we'd have been in a really solid spot. First game with the new deck in the morning. Yep, GG, put it. That's close against one of the best decks in the format. Morning, Win Magus. Skarmory Gaming here for our opponent. Big question on the open is, do they have the Rocky helmet? And they do. Can we find a cape is our next question. I suppose if I find an X speed, we could just kick the Meltan, which forces them to have their evolution right away, which is pretty great. One Snoot Boop into the back line. Now, worth noting that Melmetal does have a, his Metal Coat, Hard Coat, sorry, applies to all attacks, including ones that are hitting it while it's on the bench. I'm going to go ahead and Cyrus this bad Bama Jamma up here, though, because it does have a retreat cost of 3. We'll put an energy here, and then I think we just go ahead and kick the Skarmory. And then I think there's a good chance that we just go looking for our Aerodactyl with this next turn. There's 1 Hitmonlee and 2 Aerodactyls in my deck, so this communication is very likely to fish us up our stage 1 here. See if we can hit our 66%er here. Nice. And then I think we just try and hit the Bell Battle twice, yeah? I don't really need to X speed here because everything has such low cost and they could like Cyrus this back up and hit it again. So hit you for 60. And then they need like Cape and Potion or double Potion to live another Land Crush here. Thanks to that quick hit from this to begin with. Hey, Metal Gear, thank you for the 20 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I think it's just energy on Duck. Clear this. It could be right to kick the Meltan again, though. Yeah, but I'm gonna do that, actually. I'm gonna kick the Meltan again. Just like makes them have their second Melmetal right away. So I think the only way they get up over this Aerodactyl is with a second Melmetal charged up, yeah? Do we just clear out Skarmory now? I think we just clear out Skarmory now, yeah? And then if they're still working on this, leaving this up, we could just start chip-shotting this down. I kind of want this last bench spot to have some flexibility here, so I think it's just this. Yeah, I would assume they have copies of Leaf. But if they have copies of Leaf, they're gonna need Potion as well here, right? Because like they could Leaf up and clear this, and then Aerodactyl can clear this in 2, while this takes 2 to clear this back. So long as we're hitting their thing first, it seems really ideal for us. Hey, Gopher, thank you for the almost 2.5 years. Welcome back. Good morning, good morning. Oh, there is still a Kickmonlee in my deck, isn't there? Okay, so now I think the line is pull this back into this. We put a cape on it so that way it doesn't die to 120 plus a 20 hit. And then we just need to draw our second copy of Aerodactyl in our next 2 draws. And our deck has 1 Aerodactyl and a Research in 4 cards. Yeah, I mean, we'll give them this. Do they have second Sabrina? If they have second Sabrina, I need to draw our other Aerodactyl right now. Assuredly, they don't have room for 2 Sabrinas. Yes, that's fine. We got him. Got him. I'll Geo here because it lets us play around to copy a potion. I'm surprised we ground out two Melbatals here. The mixture of Cyrus and Hitmonlee letting us drag their first one up was good tempo for us, giving us time to get these Aerodactyls set up. Oh, yeah, that's true. I didn't need the Aerodactyl because they're only on 1 point. Yeah, good thought. They're probably just cooked then, right? Morning, Herdwick. Have a duck. All right, we need to take a brief pause for the cause and take our first ad break of the morning. We'll throw this build up on stream. This is essentially an idea of the fighting box deck where you're not just stone cold dead to eggs. With the idea being that we have 2 Giovanni with 2 Farfetch to scramble the eggs sometime, and then we're also an Aerodactyl deck, so that way when we're going first, we can evolve Aerodactyl to cut off their evolution. So we're going to go ahead and take our 120-second ad break on Twitch. We're going to tap one on YouTube as well. Appreciate everybody here that's bright and early. We're going to be playing a few hours of Pocket to start today, and then we'll be playing some Snap later. The YouTube chat's working, Hernwick. I just have the chats in sub-only mode on Twitch and member-only mode on YouTube. There had been a lot of complaining and negativity in the chats recently, and rather than having to constantly time that out and correct it, I decided to make chat a little bit more restricted. So the Twitch chat's super active because we have a lot of subs on Twitch, but YouTube doesn't really have a lot of members, so that chat will be a lot slower. Speaking of the YouTube side, appreciate the 118 people that tapped the like button. If you're enjoying the vibes of the live stream and haven't done so already, consider doing that. I think maybe we'll try with opening the chat back up when we have new card packs on Friday, because people will be more excited for that. Maybe, I don't know. I think there's a chance on Friday there'll be a lot of complaining if we actually do get new cards from people who just don't have the current pack completed yet. We'll see. We'll see. Gamers complain about everything. Yeah, Pocket is definitely exiting that honeymoon phase for a lot of players. The Pocket deck highlights have been getting more of the jaded comments that Snap has gotten for a long time. We're like, ugh, cool deck, I wish I could build it type stuff, rather than being just excited about the game. I also think the Friday is going to be touch or go when the new packs release, depending on how trading works. Like, hopefully they're going to let people trade Space-Time Smackdown cards when a new set comes out on Friday, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they don't let us trade any of this current pack until A3 cards come out. Like, they need all of A2 to be out before they make it tradable. So it'll be curious to see if they let it trade in parts or not. No, absolutely. Pokemon treats their card game players like mushrooms. You got to keep them in the dark. That's not even actually just card game players. It's all their stuff. Like, it's funny, the polar extreme. Someone on the Twitch chat asked me, Jeff, are you excited to play with a card that's scheduled to be released 2.5 months from now? And it's just like, well, I reviewed it because the expectation when you're making Snap content is that you review the cards when they're data mined. But, like, it's such a drastically different... There's probably 100 cards releasing on Friday and we know nothing about them for Pocket, whereas Marvel Snap's like, oh, by the way, here's the releases for the next 2.5 months. Very, very polarizingly different ends of the spectrum in terms of the info we get. Soyo, thank you for the almost 7 years. Welcome back. Genesis Pro Tech, I watched my monthly ad, and I'm happy to see you doing some stuff again. Thanks for the 3.5 years. Pablo, thank you for the 15 months. I'm right there with you. First energy advantage and a duck to start. This opener's quacked. Whew, this is not the egg we're typically looking to scramble, but, you know, Farfetch doesn't discriminate. Oh, they have a cape. Lucky. Let's play our 2 Pokeballs before we research here, because we're only on 4 basics because we have 2 fossils, so I want to get these basics drawn to my hand before we research. Which approach is better for creating content, knowing nothing or having everything 2 months out? I think they both have pretty big negatives associated with them, if I'm being honest. To complement a game that I played previously, I actually think Magic the Gathering's way of doing card spoilers is much better than both how Pocket does it and how Marvel Snap does it. The issue with Pocket giving you nothing is that there's no hype built up into the set, and the last week or two before new cards release tends to be a really low point in a content cycle. So, you like have a drought at one of the times when you most desperately need new things as a content creator. And then the opposite side of the coin is with Marvel Snap, you know, it's hard to get super excited or evaluate cards where they're not coming out for, you know, 2 months, basically. How does Magic handle it? So Magic the Gathering has a spoiler season where for a couple of weeks leading up into the new set coming out, you'll get a trickle of official spoilers for it on a slower drip. And they don't give you everything. Eventually there's the full card drop when things come out, but you have like some things to be excited about in the interim. Unfortunately, we did not find a fossil and they had a cape to stop our scramble, so we are dead here. Yes, the other problem with Marvel Snaps, the way they do cards is because they let you see cards so far out. Marvel Snap also does a lot of rebalancing before those cards release. So like you'll have a card set to release at the end of March that we loosely know the text on, that sometimes the text box can change entirely, or sometimes the cost or power goes up and down on it, and then players feel kind of slighted because a card released that was different than what they were expecting. Hitmonlee. Water Energy. Something cheesy, something Manaphy, something else. The way Second Dinner releases stuff is the fault of data miners. That's not true, actually. So, for people that don't follow Snap super closely, when Marvel Snap did the Marvel Rivals crossover season, there actually weren't any data mines for it in advance, which kind of showed us that the data mines existing is something that Second Dinner / Marvel Snap chooses to have happen. So it is very much not the fault of data miners that the data mines exist. Second Dinner can and could stop them from happening if they wanted to. I just kicked the Squirtle. There could be merit to putting a cape on here to play around to Misty Heads, but I think if they Misty Heads, we're going to be in trouble either way. And then, obviously, we're hoping to fish up an Aerodactyl here in our next couple of draws. There's our arrow. Let's just stretch kick this. And then they'll clear this, and then I'll hit them. Oh. Well, that's really good for us, I think. Yeah, is it? What do we do here? I have a couple of lines here at this point. I think it's grab a knockout point here with the Hitmonlee. And I think we cape the Hitmonlee so they don't pick up a second point. Or do I even care about giving them the second point? I guess the upside to not giving them the second point is it means we don't die to Cyrus on here, which is probably worth playing around. But this first knockout point from the Magic cart means that we only need to clear one of these EXs to be in a game-winning spot. Huh? Do you think they have copies of Leaf in their deck? What's more likely, first Leaf or second Cyrus? I guess X-Speed gets us too. I think it's this, but it's close. Yeah, maybe they just don't have room. It depends on how many copies of these things that they have. If they're on the full playset of Blastoise and the full playset of Gyarados, they might not have room for these other supporters. They can still have an X speed here. And GG. Hey, Sardox, thank you for the 40 months. Appreciate that. Welcome back. Whenever I lose a game like this, I'm always like, man. Like, they just gotta be so lucky, right? Because, like, there's no way they have room for the full playset of this. They just, like, had their stage 2 while probably playing 1-1-1. Because if they're playing the full playsets of things, that's only what, it's 14 Pokemon slots. There's no way they have full sets. There's currently no official information known about the upcoming Pocket set. I would not be surprised if it's the same size as Space Time Smackdown, though. Do we put the duck in and just try and clear the Mischievous? I think so. Hey, Ulrio, thank you for the 2 months. Welcome back. Do I Geo? Geo plays around a potion? That seems fine. Do you think if we get enough support cards that running one of Evo lines could be common? I don't know what those support cards would look like. It would also have to be like some type of utility card as opposed to your primary game plan. So I struggle to envision what that looks like where that would be ideal. So take our first knockout point here. Is there definitely a set coming on Friday? There is definitely nothing. We know nothing in advance. They do not communicate. I'm gonna shuffle this around, but we kind of need to hit our fossil or we're gonna be in a bad way, yeah? If they have Ms. Drevia, or Ms. Magius specifically. The only promise Chef can give you is the promise of an uncertain future. Accurate. BDJ, thank you for the 23 months. Appreciate that. Welcome back. The fossil dry here, that leaves us in a pretty good spot. Try and stretch kick again here. We'll fail. If they miss on Ms. Magius again here, we get to go ahead and throw Aerodactyl in and clean them out. Aerodactyl with 2 energies notably does live a single hit from a fully charged Alakazam, which is nice. Heads up play from our opponent, getting their evolution going ASAP. What do we do? They don't have any points yet. I think it's just take the knockout, yeah? I think it's take the knockout. And then they're forced to put this up. They hit us for 120. We hit them down to 20, and then Farfetch cleans up after. There's the Mismagius, but they're 2 turns off from that mattering. And then, noteworthy breakpoint here, I want a Giovanni. Oh, he drew Cyrus too, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But I want a Giovanni to put this to 10, so that way Kickmonlee would clear it through a single potion or cape. If they have potion plus cape, we are dead. Because then my Farfetch wouldn't be able to finish. Yeah, and they are just taking their 2 knockout points on the way out the door. They see the rating on the wall with Duck and Hitmonlee having them squeezed here. I believe it here was something. It might as well be a couple of points. Aerodactyl's pretty solid into the Magnemite lead. Let's see what they deploy here on the bench. I assume this is Drudagon, Darkrai nonsense. I do not think it's worth discussing balance changes for Pokemon Pocket because they're very unlikely to implement any balance changes. I think it's mostly just a waste of breath. All right, this being played out here forces them to deploy whatever they drew to the bench next turn. And then this is locked in to only doing 10 per turn while it's in the active spot. Hizar, thank you for the 2 years of support. Appreciate you re-upping that Prime. Welcome back. Oh, do they not have the evolution here right away? That seems good for me. I think with them missing the evolution here, we kick the baby, yeah? They're 3 turns off of killing this with Darkrai. Natterjack, thank you for the 6.5 years. Appreciate the 79 months. When you have to cape your Magnabite to keep it alive. Lovely, lovely. Aerodactyl sounds great. How do we want to approach this next turn cycle? I think it's energy here. And I think we actually kick the Darkrai twice is the plan. Because then we can Cyrus it up and clear it with the Aerodactyl, since they already spent their cape here. A lot of these decks don't have room for 2 capes. And that's a stellar hit here. Because it means that I can kick this again and not lose it this turn. I want to say thank you for the Manaphy, Magnezone, Yanmega combo deck. Dawn's really powerful there. It is, yeah. Very sweet card for sure. So this currently has 30 damage marked on it. You're Sabrina-ing me. Have a duck? Question mark? Not 100% what we're accomplishing by making me put the duck up. I think I'm happy they didn't... I think I'm happy they didn't put damage on here. It feels like they're just flailing, yeah? Okay. Opponent also confused and probably a little embarrassed. Just waiting on a Cyrus to put them firmly away. Yeah, so I feel like Pocket's done a really good job so far of making sure we have counters for all the big key metagame threats. However, Executor's kind of an old threat, yeah? So I'll be curious to see if they predicted needing counterplay to that in this upcoming expansion. The Yanmega Manaphy Magneton deck will be tomorrow's highlight on the YouTube channel. We were playing that one a little bit at the end of last week. Deck is very sweet for sure. Tauros? There's a name I haven't heard in a long time. If they avoid playing out bench Pokemon, we have our X speed to pivot into Farfetch to start getting cracks on here. Right. We get to kick the baby to start here. And then this one is guaranteed to be a Farfetch'd. They cannot knock out my Hitmonlee next turn, so I'm going to hold these basics back, kind of conceal information, and not give them the option to stretch kick us. Hey, Gigs, thank you for the 20 months. Appreciate that. Holding this back could also encourage them to leaf into the Gibble to stop us from kicking it again, and then we get to Farfetch to punish that. They have fighting here, so they're 2 turns off of attack, or yeah, 2 more turns off from attacking for this at a minimum. Hey, Lorenzo, thanks for the quarter of a year. I agree. Something that interferes with healing would be a good way to approach having counterplay into eggs. All right, so they have the Chomp here, but they also have yet another fighting energy up top, which is not what they're looking for. Have there been any decks with Dusknor? Seems like a bad card, but I haven't seen any brews with an error. You should make sure you turn the bell on my YouTube channel. There were not one, but two different Dusknor decks posted there in the last week. My kingdom for a way to search up fossils, eh? I think I need to start working their second Garchomp into range of going down to an Aerodactyl in one. Is the game plan here? So, my opponent's going to have their whole deck in their hands, but they also have no water energy. But we don't really have any big hitters here either. And this Tauros actually chews through our Hitmonlees, which is a little annoying. Is that even useful? I'm not sure that it is, yeah? I could pull the Chomp up, but they just retreat it for one. I think we just do the Truffle Shuffle with the Hitmonlees here. If we find our second Giovanni, we could Geo with the duck and crack this twice to clean through it in advance. My goodness. Well, was it right to play that out? I'm probably supposed to wait, actually, yeah? Did I give him a point? Might be right to give him a point here. And I'll put the duck up and quack him. The research just makes us pretty likely to fossil next turn, so they're somewhat appealing to leave a bench slot open. J Turbo Banana, thank you for the over 3 years. Welcome back. Good morning. Hey, they finally found a water energy. They also effectively have their whole deck in their hands. They discarded a Persian, which would imply that there's like 2 copies of Meowth in their deck. I think the play from here is just go ahead and pull up this Garchomp that has damage marked on it. So would we go ahead and quack him, and then the second Farfetch finishes this next turn? Dystopian, thank you for the over 2 years. And Matthias, thank you for the 21 months. Morning, folks. Happy Monday. I think we're dead, huh? I'm trying to think through, like, what our permutation is here to survive. Oh, I guess we have a cape, which we're pretty likely to find here. Looking for, like, cape plus fossil, I think. Nice. Easy game. I think I want to go ahead and kick their other Garchomp here, because I want to position us to a point where we can clear either of these in one with an Aerodactyl through a cape or a potion. So what do I expect to be in their hand? There's another research in their hand. They discarded a Meowth. So we can be confident that one of their 2 cards is research, I think. Other than that, I think all bets are off. And then, unfortunately, the way this game is lined up, we are dead to Cyrus or Sabrina. Oh, yeah, there's probably a Cynthia in their hand, too, which we're also dead to. So I assume we're dead here. Took us way too long to get anything going here. We're gonna take this deck and throw it away. This deck feels like such a good example of like why it's so impossible to brew competitively in this format. Because like this build of this deck is like trying to tool the Fighting Box deck so it can be competitive against the Executor matchup. But doing that makes us just like, it feels impossible to not be trash into the rest of the field while trying to fix your eggs matchup. And we see a lot of that play out in the matchup tables for the eggs decks. Like everything in these tournaments that like has a good eggs matchup is just like miserable garbage into everything else in the field essentially. They'll like be 60% against the most popular deck in the format and still a sub 50% win rate overall. Just because the things you have to do in order to be competitive there is so different than the rest of the field. All right, let's take a brief pause for the cause. We'll play something else when we return. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Don't go anywhere. Bill Kinton, thank you for the almost 5 years. Welcome back. Play some Blastoise. Is there anything else in here I built that I wanted to play? Could try Skarmory Pidgeot. I like this deck from a game theory perspective. Maybe we'll do this. I am very much ready for new pocket cards. Part of the reason why we dipped back into Snap last week is because I'm at a point where I'm not really interested in playing competitively in pocket. And like the random queue is fine because like nobody plays the good decks in the random queue for the most part. But Neo Tedson, thank you for the 21 months. Welcome back. Yeah, I replaced DX Articuno with Baby Articuno, and then you play X Speed instead of Leaf, Desbiff. How is Magnezone Ninetales? Haven't played any games with it yet. I was in my new decks roundup from 2 weeks ago, I think it was. We've definitely hit a point where the eggs deck is S tier. I skipped doing the meta report this week because looking at the meta report, there was nothing new to report. It was basically just the same as last week. The eggs decks are the best by a lot. Hey, Kieran, thanks for the membership on the YouTube side. I appreciate that direct support. Good morning, good morning. Yeah, I feel like the big test for Pokemon Pocket content long term is going to be after this next set. If the data mines are accurate, after this new set drops on Friday, it's gonna be 8 weeks until the set after that happens, which is a pretty big gap. It's bigger than 6, it's twice the 4 weeks. And the way card games that release in these bigger chunks go, you know, your metrics fall off the further you get from the new card release. So I'll be really curious to see for Pocket, like, what do numbers look like on streams and YouTube videos, you know, week 6 and week 7. Which, we were talking about card release cycles earlier. That's one of the reasons why Magic the Gathering does that spoiler season, is because doing a spoiler season where you officially preview some of the cards lets you build hype for the next thing before it actually happens, and kind of helps that big tail that normally happens towards the end of a set dragging a little bit. Aztec, thank you for the 21 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Martini, thank you for the 2 months. Appreciate you dropping that prime off again. Those bits are a big part of why I'm able to do this as a job. Thanks for keeping me around. Alright, so we found Skarmory, but there's only 1 copy of X-Speed in this deck. It's just hard to fit more than that with all the tools, so pretty likely this Manaphy is going to get to activate twice, which is unfortunate. Do they have bench Pokemon? Here's the next question, though, and how many? They have no bench Pokemon. Get wrecked. Not much of a first game. Play 7 basics in your Manaphy decks, chat. The more the better. Something. Play more basics, yeah. going second. I would love to lead Skarmory while going second. This is a little thing, but something to note about the current metagame is that there are way more copies of Sabrina than there are Red Card and Mars in our metagame. I'm gonna give our opponent a freebie and go deck. We're just not gonna play a real game. They got deck edited. There's lightning energy here. Sorry. To finish the thought there's way more copies of Sabrina than there are Red Card and Mars in the metagame. So when I'm playing a deck like Skarmory, where I really want to lead on a particular Pokemon, I choose to hold my extra bench Pokemon in my hand. So that way when they're going first, they can't Sabrina me out of the lead that I want. Thank God for that. I agree. Red Card and Mars, I'm glad that they're not good because the gameplay that they generate is really mediocre. And the game is more tactical and interesting when they're not common. So this opener here is one of the reasons why I think it's interesting and appealing to try Pidgeot with Skarmory. Because Skarmory is a card that really likes going second with your first energy advantage. And Pidgeot is a card, when you hit your evolution on curve, likes going first. We get to go Pidgeotto into Pidgeot 30 into 70 and just start cracking them down. Stage 1s that attack for 1 and stage 2s that attack for 2 enjoy having that first evolution advantage as opposed to first energy advantage. And that's a nice way to approach deck building. Have a card that likes going second paired with a card that likes going first. They kind of complement each other in your different games. No Krillia here to start for them. Feels like we're in a very good spot. Or Routes or whatever the baby is. Routes is the baby, right? Krillia is the stage 1. So them not getting Routes until this turn means that Mewtwo doesn't threaten to side drive until 3 turns from now, which means this is going to get to crack them a couple of times, which is ideal. They're going to need a potion here. We could just kill the Routes. That's probably the line, isn't it? Is that the line? That's probably the line. And getting this first knockout point means when this Mewtwo goes down, they lose the game. So they'll crack us to 30, we'll crack them to 70, and then they'll clear us, but then these 2 Skarmory should finish through this, right? Because this isn't an EX Pokemon, so they're going to have to get 3 knockout points to win this game. Would love to draw a Rocky helmet here. I am not locking myself into committing to any firm, hard schedule between Pocket and Snap. I'm going to mix and match and play more of one and less than the other as they have different things that are interesting and exciting, and depending on how the gameplay's feeling. If I'm enjoying both of them, we'll probably mix and match in a few different ways and see what's best for numbers. Generally speaking, from a content perspective, it tends to be beneficial to put your higher viewer count games second. So with Snap doing drops right now, having Snap be second makes more sense because I expect we'll have more viewers for Snaps during drops than we will for Pocket right now towards the end of a card pack release. Ooh, Dawning Energy up to the other Mewtwo is pretty good. That does nothing at this point, yeah. I am going to go ahead and pivot to the other Skarmory, so that way they need another Dawn in order to get a knockout point next turn. And the way this lines up, if they don't knock this out this turn, they hit us, we go 50, they clear us, and then this can... Well, shoot. Yeah, we did draw our big bird here, yeah. Well, I mean... Dead to Cyrus, but not dead on board. Oh, you know what? You know what? I should have switched to the Farfetch'd, yeah? And put the hat on the Farfetch'd. We'd still be dead to Cyrus, but then I'd have them dead next turn. Why did they click through attacking? It seemed like it was intentional. We drew the big bird, so it doesn't matter, but it's definitely worth noting I made a small mistake there. Yeah. Yeah, a good example of, like, what I intend to do with the schedule. Like, if I want to play Pokemon Pocket tournaments, most Pokemon Pocket tournaments start at, like, noon my time. So, like, if the metagame is interesting to play a tournament, we'll do Snap first and then do Pocket in the afternoon so we can play the tournament in the afternoon. But I definitely have absolutely zero desire to play tournaments in the current metagame. It's not very fun or interesting. Is a most unfortunate breakpoint here for us. Also a shame we don't have our Skarmory. Maybe we'll draw one of our two Skarmories at our 1x speed and we'll get to scramble the egg here, but it's also pretty unlikely. Tangela Gaming. I think I'm just letting this die to a big egg. Interesting, they're also bricked. I think with that in mind, we just do this, yeah? And I'm gonna put a cape on this now, so that way they can't top deck egg and clear it with the heads. Are you planning to host more tournaments with Spraggles? Yeah, the next Hoglandia Spraggles Open Series will be on March 8th, a week from Saturday. We'll have signups open for that this Thursday, is the plan. I'm shuffling this around so they can't move the Celebi up and clear us in one, guaranteed. Take my first knockout point with this. Tan, thank you for the 20 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I have permission to reveal the full pricing for our tournament on Thursday when signups go up. Man, just Celebi things, huh? Average onion blossom. This is why I'm not playing in tournaments right now, chat. This experience after the Executor is just like, what are we even doing? Why are we even here? What are we bothering with? I mean, there's a chance we're still just dead here. Like, Erica's and whatnot, they're just gonna, like, clean through our stuff. I think we need them to, like, full brick, like, twice more here. Maybe they won't have the second Erica. And Pidgeot into Pidgeot or Pidgeot into Skarmory can do it. If they try and retreat back, we have Cyrus to drag it back to the front of the class, which is nice. That's only their first knockout point, and this is a baby. Is this guaranteed to be my stage 1? I think it is, right? Because my duck is dead. My stage 1's the only other one in my deck. Nice. Nice. Would you ever consider having a custom ban list for your tournament? So, in my experience, people are not interested in watching content around games and decks that are custom ban list things. Most people consuming content are looking for deck lists that they can copy and play competitively themselves. So custom ban list tournaments aren't relevant for people looking for deck lists because the custom ban list means those decks likely aren't competitive in the general setting they're going to be playing in outside of the tournament. I mean, I guess they're just hoping I don't have Pidgeot or a tool, but like, there's only going to be 5 cards left in my deck, right? The odds of me missing both of those is real low. Sometimes lucky you know second Erica. We should drive it off into Cyrus to prove a point. That would just be rude. Full Pidgey outline while going first here. Real clean for us. Machop while going second's kind of scary, though. Do we Rocky Helmet? I think we Rocky Helmet, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm into playing the other Scarborough out here, too. If they have Machoke plus Giovanni, we could be in a little bit of trouble. But otherwise, we get to clean them up real nice here. And I suppose if they Knuckle Punch us, the Rocky Helmet means that they're dead to X Speed plus Tool. So they might just not Knuckle Punch us here, which means we don't have to worry about the Giovanni. We have a singular X Speed and 11 cards that could punish them. Oh, the what's it called is unfortunate. Oh, they're just not going for the active one. Interesting. They just giving this one up? What do my breakpoints look like here? We hit them for 70. They take 20 and go to 90 with Machamp, which leaves them at 90. I can beat the Machamp, but I don't know that we're going to be able to get the follow-up knockout point is the problem. I guess if they miss on Machoke, the Cyrus could drag them down after. If they have Machamp, we go Skarmory, hit you to 40, and then this Skarmory finishes the following turn. And then perhaps we could Cyrus this for the last point we'll need. But this also all hinges on them having Machamp, which they do. Champ is very good on curve. They had the Lucario on curve as well here to let him clear our 130 in a go is unfortunate. We're gonna need another Poke Tool in our next 2 draws for the other Skarmory to be able to finish this. Alright, this could be Farfetch'd. And Farfetch'd would mean that we don't need a Tool top deck. Pidgey is not the droid we're looking for, gamers. So 1 research, 2 tools in 8 cards. So 3 out of 8 to finish this. We do also get stopped by a cape or a potion, though. I suppose we're also... I shouldn't have played the Pidgey out, huh? Because that leaves us dead to Sabrina, even if I top deck the tool. Rats. GG opponent. Was close. They had first energy advantage. They had all 5 of their evolutions on curve. Not really a whole lot we could do there. Needed slightly better variants on our side. All of our birds are weak to lightning. So in general, when you'd like to suggest a line while I'm playing, rather than saying, Jeff, couldn't you do this? I'd prefer if you'd explain to me why the suggestion you're making is good. Because generally speaking, if I'm leaving a game, it means I don't see a line in order to win. So if you see one, go ahead and explain it. Because I do miss things sometimes. Do I need to put a cape on here? Think so, right? Geo only does 40. Darkrai's a reason to play cape. That's a good call out. Man, double Magneton probably means we're cooked, huh? I guess there's a world where they don't have Magnezone, right? Cope. And this is weak to lightning, unfortunately, so putting cape on it does not save it from the 110 hit, because it'll do 130. We haven't played against any Gallade in an hour and a half this morning, so last week must have just been like an unofficial Gallade day that we kept running into it as much as we did. Oh, I suppose our saving grace here is even if they had the Magnezone, they'd only get 2 attacks with it, right? So they weren't necessarily guaranteed to have it. Or to be good. Oh man, the Darkrai top deck. That's gonna be too much to overcome. Maybe I should have caped the Skarmory to play around that. Because if I would have caped the Skarmory, it would have lived this hit. But I think we end up in trouble either way, yeah? Alright. I am going to throw this one in the trash can, chat. It also does not feel particularly good. We can take a brief pause for the cause and let some adverts roll. I've got one more deck in my editor here that I haven't played games with yet. There was a Magnazone Ninetales Blain deck that looked kind of neat. So we're gonna do some of this when we get back, I think. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Don't go anywhere. If you're watching on the YouTube side, you're enjoying the Vibes live stream, so tapping the like button. Shout out to the over 300 people that have done that already. Appreciate you. Do we need the flares for this deck to function properly? You do. You also need the full art planes. How did you enjoy the Gengar deck? I mean, it's a Gengar deck. We've also played a couple of Gengar decks recently, so you need to be more specific. We played both Dusknoir and Abysmagius in recent memory. And I am generally speaking a Abysmagius enjoyer, so pairing Gengar with her was very reasonable. Morning, Rabbit. Happy Monday. Yeah, we're gonna pedal for the last 20 seconds of this ad break, and I think we're standing up for a spell. Hey, Rager, thank you for the 27 months. Welcome back. Morning, good morning. Pachirisu. This deck top forward or made the finals of the Earthsea tournament this weekend. Broken clocks being right twice a day and all that. It's extra funny because even with one copy of this deck putting up a 13-3 record to finish towards the top, the archetype as a whole still only had a dead 50% win rate. Because most of the rest of the people playing it bombed out. Yes, the 18 trainer cheesy patchy deck. I'm going to hold this Magnemite in case we top deck a copy of Pokemon Communication. If we find our Ninetales, I'm not sure how they beat our Cape. If we don't find Ninetales, we have a Tail Whip coin flip to buy us another turn. Any of our stage ones would be great next turn. Magneton or Ninetales. How about both? Can I get both? I'm greedy. I'll take both. And put a cape on this. So that way they don't clear us with the Giovanni. One well done squirrel, please. And even if they have their second Patchy here, they're gonna need 2 turns to get it set up, right? So they should just be cooked at this point. Do they have double potion blue? No, they already played a research this turn, yeah? Why are we wasting potions? Gamer, they just know they're cooked and they're just like playing them out of their hand. And this is, you know, this game kind of shows exactly the concept for this deck is that in most decks, you wouldn't want to lead on Ninetales because Ninetales requires your energy every single turn. But Magnezone is a threat that doesn't require energy investment because the stage 1 charges it up. So this lets us get super aggressive with Ninetales right away while still having a threat to follow it up if they eventually get through our 90-point attacker. Sure? Question mark? Just hoping I'm not in the zone. Magnezone. So anyways, I started blasted. Nice cheesy patchy deck gamer. Why does the opponent's deck show up in top tournament results? Because of a phenomenon that most people don't seem to understand, which is it's very commonly accepted in card games that a good player with a good deck can have a bad run, and that doesn't mean the deck is bad. But the inverse of that is also true, right? Like a good player with a bad deck can have a good run, and that doesn't mean the deck is good. So the Patchy deck, like, pretty consistently has like a 1 to 1.5% play rate in these tournaments. Which in a, 1,000+ player tournament means there's 20 people playing it, so there's 20 chances for the deck to like high roll super hard and make a deep run. It feels like it always overperforms. It doesn't. When you go and look at the actual data, there's a single person running well with it, and there's a bunch of other people falling completely flat on their face. So your overperformance measurement for the 18 trainer Pachirisu deck is purely based on one singular anecdote without actually looking at the data as a whole. Contrary to what your significant other told you during undergrad, size matters. The sample size is bad. Lovely. Play this other magnet out? I don't, right? Because if I draw a communication, want to communicate that for something else? Tangle growth, gamer. I'm going to burn your plant to the ground. It took me steepler. Oh my goodness. Giant Cape plus Shaban lets them live. That's so sad. That's so sad. I guess we burn it down over 2 turns. Or we get to do 140 with the Blain, but with them being on 150 plus a heal back, it's not enough. And that Executor is, like, really mediocre against us, huh? We do not have a lot of energy on our things. Hey, Kev, thank you for the very generous biddies. I appreciate that support. Good morning, good morning. And again, we're still just holding on to our copy of Magnemite. So if we find a communication, it can turn into a Magneton for this one. Or another Ninetales for this one. The 110 HP here is super relevant because it means that this doesn't kill us in 1 with a Psychic hit. Even if they have Erica plus Potion, Blain still clears them out next turn, so they're probably just cooked to our super aggressive attacks to start. And Ninetales as your lead just runs a lot of people down, huh? He's a very, very angry fire puppy. Out point number 1. Rack them up. So, like, they're out here, I guess, is build this and then build this over the next 2 turns, but Blain should mean that they're cut off. I guess I could have a Giovanni to let them clear the Ninetales in 1. That seems unlikely, given all the other moving parts they have going on. Ooh, this could meaningfully buy them a turn. You're not on copies of X speed. You enjoy logic puzzles? Sometimes. No attacks for you, little hedgehog. They bought themselves a turn, but unless they top deck Geo, I think we're done. And with us finding Magneton, I think even if they have Geo, we're done here. Just again, getting to see the strength of Ninetales being able to attack with Magnezone building up behind it. Moot, thank you for the 21 months. Appreciate that. Welcome back. There were a lot of complaints on social media about content creators just putting bad cards in with Magnezone. And while Magnezone's definitely a powerful card that can carry bad cards, I think this deck is a wonderful example of, like, good deck building around the new card, right? You're like, we're very explicitly looking to leverage this as a way to let us start on this in a way that no other card in the game would let us have that combination. And we didn't even need it here, but it gave us insulation to beat their copy of Giovanni if they had it. But Ninetales was able to just hard carry. As a Blain deck enthusiast, I'm into this. Yeah, it's really, like, conceptually, it's really good deck building. Eating Magnemite into a fighting energy is not super exciting. Eat a Vulpix. If our first couple of days back playing Snap are any indication, Moot, there's not going to be a shortage of decks to highlight. I think from just like the first 12 hours we played, I felt like I had probably half a dozen decks we could highlight. All right, so we're technically not dead on board, but we are dead to a Primeape or another Giovanni. Unfortunately, not a whole lot we can do about that. Just one of the downsides of playing a low basic count deck. We're gonna occasionally have games like this. I did make it to Infinite on Snap. Yeah, we did a like 5-hour stream on Saturday. We played to Infinite and then played some after as well. Took me a little bit less than 10 hours and exactly 150 games to go from 43 to Infinite. First, and Sansa a fighting deck again, so I think we lead Vulpix. I would be incredibly surprised if we got any information at all about the upcoming Pocket set before Pokemon Day. This is definitely getting traded in with a communication. If we find our copy of Ninetales here, we cook this next turn before it can hit stage 2, yeah? Definitely have to do this turn, though. Oh, I suppose this hit also means we cook it next turn, yeah? Because we have the Magnezone. Sweet. Yeah, either of our stage 1s there were excellent. Just to get blasting ASAP. Pokédex gamer, eh? We would still really love to draw Ninetales. That way we don't have to go into the Magna Zone and we can charge this up a bit more. But if we brick on the Ninetales, we're still going to take the aggressive line and start running them down, I think. Find your Krylia. They found Krylia and have Gallade. We could get run out of this game. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they didn't find their thing. Yes, I would assume in general, getting data mine stuff a day in advance like we did for the last set is going to be the exception rather than the rule, because that data mine stuff only happened because they added trading a day out. Yeah, they do a preview on social media a few days out, typically. I would expect that to be the norm for non-Pokemon Day stuff, but like the full set being spoiled 24 hours in advance is probably not going to happen again. Fast Ninetales does line up okay into Executor, yeah? Because you do 110 and 110, and with a Blain you get to 250, which clears through an Erica. Erica and Potion. Vulpix. Lovely. I'll play the other one out here to play around Sabrina plus an Executor flip. There's the egg tree. And I suppose even if we brick Ninetales here, the Vulpix gives us a chance to brick them for a turn, yeah? I'm just giving them a point here. I think is the plan. And then next turn, we could try and turn this into a Ninetales if we miss. The Cape is a good draw. If we find Ninetales here, Cape means that Ninetales lives through a heads on the Tropical Swing with the Rocky Helmet. Perfect. I think I hold on to the Blain here, so that way this Vulpix as a Ninetales can clear Celebi in one. Because I also don't need to Blain here to kill this through an Erica. We actually kill it through Erica and Potion, yeah? No, sorry. Erica and Potion would be too much. Ooh, Cape on there is unfortunate. It means that our Blain is no longer a one-shot. It's only a nasty Sabrina 50% of the time. Sometimes lucky rubber ducky. No! No! Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, man. I did it. I did it again. I'm not qualified to play this card. Like, where's my undo button? Like, honestly, the singular best thing they ever added to Marvel Snap was being able to undo your locking in your plays. Especially in a game like this, where there's no interaction from my opponent on their turn. That's so frustrating. That was such a decent game, too. That was such a potential good... I evolved my Magneton before clicking on the stupid Pokemon ability, so I couldn't attack with it. So frustrating. It's frustrating that I could both be playing infinitely slow, but also, like, they could just have better client features so that stuff like that doesn't happen. Jet Slayer, thank you for the tier 2 in over a year. Welcome back. You should add client features that encourage people to not take infinite time on everything. Dr. Mystic, thank you for the brand new Prime. Appreciate it. I could communicate for a Vulpix, but I think I'm not supposed to. We'll put energy on here for the turn and wait. They have the chomp on curve, we kind of get run over, yeah? Oh, actually... I'm gonna communicate out this other Ninetales looking for another basic. The Magnemite hitting this twice means that Ninetales plus Blain finishes it next turn. Because Chomp's a 140. So if they don't have Chomp plus Cape, we get to get him. A lot of these Chomp decks play one Cape, because having a little bit more sustain for your big boy is important. I've been Marsed. All right, 20% to hit our thing here anyways. Extra rewarded for playing the communication aggressively here, though. We need to draw, Blain obviously wins the game on the spot, or Magneton. Would be good. And this is one of those spots where, like, obviously the copy of Mars looks good, but it's worth noting I had a chance to redraw my thing that still lost them the game on the spot, and if they just would have had a cape, I wouldn't have had a shot. So the only reason I'm here playing a game is because they had Mars instead of a real card. Yeah, I think we just Tail Whip here. Yes, they also had their stage 2 and 2-color energy on curve. And I still had the ability to win the game on the spot because they were playing Mars instead of a good utility card. Yeah, I think I do this and take my redraw at the Blain next turn. It's unfortunate that we bricked on our coin after they won several other coin flips, but that is what it is. I think them hitting their other stage 1 here means we're just dead at this point. Mars doesn't really have play rate. People have largely figured out that this type of effect is not good, so it's not really worth making a video about. The video about red card was because it was seeing a lot of play. All right, I'm gonna play a little bit more with this. This one's actually been kind of all right. I'm really sad that I threw the game with a misclick against the Executor deck, playing too quickly, because it would have been a really good game to have in a highlight. All right, I'm going to run to the restroom while the adverts roll. Appreciate everybody hanging out this morning. Don't go anywhere. Watch on the YouTube side. Tap the like button on the live stream if you'd be so kind. Someone asked about the sub count ticker on the screen. Because we're doing a mix of snap stuff again, I'm hoping optimistically we won't need the ticker on the screen to hit my sub count goals. In December, when I was doing a mix of Snap and Pocket, we were over 2,200 without having a goal on screen, just because Snap has a larger audience base than Pocket. We'll see. If the numbers tank after doing Snap again for a week, we'll probably throw it back up, but for now, I'm gonna leave it down and see if we just hit it organically. I decided to load Marvel Snap up on Thursday because the current, or was it Friday? It was Friday. On Friday, because the current Pokemon Pocket competitive metagame, it leaves a little bit to be desired. And we're also at a low point in the Pocket schedule where the viewer counts and view counts on things are low until we get the next card back. So it seemed like a good opportunity to check in on Snap after 2 months. And when we played Snap on Friday after 2 months, the gameplay was really reasonable. They still haven't fixed any of their economic issues, so those are all still the same, but the actual playing the game while ignoring the stuff around the game is very in a reasonable spot at the moment, so we're going to continue to play it. A magical cow. Speaking of making numbers go up, thank you for the 19 months. I don't know. I'm a pretty transparent and straightforward guy who's not good at lying even if I wanted to. So like, you'd know if I was sitting there playing Snap and the game wasn't good. Same for Pocket, right? Like I could just load up an Executor or a Darkrai deck and like grind through tournaments that have a good record, but I wouldn't be having fun doing it, so it wouldn't be good content. Snap has not communicated any of what their economy rework is going to look like. I assume they don't want to overpromise and then have to pivot on something. So I would expect we're not going to get any public plans for that until it's ready to ship. All right, well, we have both of our droids here, which is nice. Just get charging. I agree. I think Second Dinner communicating in advance what they plan to do with the economy only has downside for them, and they absolutely should not do it. It is unfortunate that we don't have a cape here, because if I had a cape, this Magnezone could live the Darkrai hit. But it's fine. We have Ninetales to clean it up after the fact, yeah. Weird potion. Are we... It still very much dies to the Ninetales, yes. We lose to Weavile plus... What's it called? Weavile plus Dawn gets us here. I guess we're technically also dead to just Weavile over 2 turns, right? Sabrina, I guess, could stop them if they don't have a copy of Leaf for X speed. Usually these decks have room for an X speed. Cape in the back. Does that mean they bricked on the Weavile and they need to pivot to the Darkrai? I think that's game winning for us in the long term. It's dead. Good beat. Did you prefer the metagame of Mythical Island? Definitely. I was enjoying playing in tournaments through the end of Mythical Island. I think the current tournament metagame is really dry and difficult to brew in. There were not any S tier decks during Mythical Island, in my opinion. The Executor deck is definitely S tier. It is significantly, markedly better than the rest of the field, and it's difficult to impossible to build your deck to be favorable against eggs without throwing almost every other important matchup in the meta. Going first, or a fighting deck. I think I lead Vulpix. It's close though. Drudagon Riolu. Interesting. Are they like Golem Lucario? Pachirisu finished second in Ursiday's tournament. That was impressive. It's only impressive if you focus on that single result and don't look at the entire stats as a whole. The Pachirisu archetype as a whole had an exactly 50% win rate in her tournament, despite one player having a 13-3 record with it. Broken clocks and being right twice a day and all that jazz. That's the other big question about this upcoming expansion is, will we be able to trade cards from Space-Time Smackdown once this next set comes? Or are we going to have to wait for A3 to be able to trade all of A2? I could really genuinely see that going either way. And I think people will probably pretty rightfully be upset if they can't trade Space-Time Smackdown on Friday when the new cards drop. I'm putting a cape on here because a cape doesn't save any of my Pokemon. I guess it does save this from Rampardos, but not if there's a Lucario. But I want to save this from dying to their stage 1 here. They can put an energy here and retreat to this and crack me for 50. Oh, and they have Lucario anyways. I could still top deck Ninetales, yeah? I would not be surprised if we can't trade the cards until the end of April, but I also think the community, especially in the short term, is going to be largely insufferable with complaining if that's the case. And I don't think their complaining will be unjustified, but I think there's going to be a lot of hyper negativity in the space if it plays out that way. One really interesting dynamic difference between the two platforms is that our Twitch viewer count for Pokemon Pocket is not that far off of what it was when the new cards released. Like, I think we're about 75 to 80% the viewer count we had when the new cards dropped a little bit ago. But on the YouTube side, the YouTube live stream is like less than half of the viewer count we had when the new cards released. It's a very drastic difference over there. Pretty well set up here. We've got energy to start building this, and we've got Magneton to start building this. Just ready to get blasting right away. Second Porygon is interesting to play out. Do we think they're a Porygon Z deck? Would be reason to play out a second copy, yeah. Second Vulpix is chilling in hand because it might turn into a Magnezone for us. Porygon Z is especially scary for our deck that needs a steady flow of fire energy, huh? You think the big difference in viewer count is due to the YouTube algorithm versus Twitch viewers having to seek things out? Part of it's maybe algorithm based, but whenever I'm in a space, I always try and keep tabs on all the other bigger content creators playing the same game that I play. And anecdotally, looking at what other content creators are having for metrics, most other content creators have also had their YouTube live stream view counts fall off really hard compared to when the set dropped. Much harder than Twitch. Porygon is the secret anti-Ninetales tech. That being said, there's still 2 turns off of attacking with it, yeah? So I think I wait a turn and build this up still. I think we're gonna be in an okay spot here. I think that is because Twitch is a more dedicated... I think Twitch is a little bit more community focused than YouTube on average. Which is also a big part of why you see like significantly more subscriptions on the Twitch side for direct support than you see memberships on the YouTube side. Alright, so we cook this, and then we're mostly good to go here. Yeah, I'm going to overcharge the Ninetales for sure. I'm going to play this other Vulpix out as well. We clean this, and then we have 110-point blast lined up for this. Then we finish with the Ninetales the following turn. And I don't think they're going to have time to build up another attacker behind this, since these other things are like 30-point attackers as well. This doesn't care what energy we're attaching to it next turn. We're all set up now. Why has eggs gotten so out of control? I know you always thought eggs was very powerful. So, Executor becoming as strong as it has to S tier is kind of the perfect storm of things. The Darkrai deck, ooh, we actually hit the 1 and 8 to get fire again. That's cute. The Darkrai decks have beaten back some of the natural counters to the eggs decks from the previous format. Examples of this are Mewtwo had a pretty good matchup, Charizard had a pretty good matchup, Gyarados had a pretty good matchup. Those are the big 3 from last season. And then the other thing is, the eggs deck didn't get new Pokemon in this latest expansion, but it got some really meaningful upgrades in other ways. What were meaningful upgrades in the most recent expansion? They got, oh, I should have caped so they couldn't sharpen to kill this, yeah? Another cape here, we're talking. You son of a gun, you caught me monologuing. Yeah, Pokemon communications plus tools and stuff. Also mean that they're better. Wait, did we opponent? Opponent. Do I guess they're just trying to run me out of lightning energy, yeah? Cyrus also helps the Executor deck, yes, is accurate. Cyrus means you can't take chip shots against their lower damage and then retreat out. So it's really just kind of a perfect storm. I think we're good to go here. They're dead to Sabrina off the top, which is a 1 and 4, but even if they don't do that, we get to retreat this into Ninetales and like clean them out here over the course of a couple of turns. Sure, like you get your first knockout point here. It's not a big deal. This is the other appeal of this deck, right? Like we've got 2 big damage attackers that are all 1 knockout points. Was that an Incredibles reference? Of course that was an Incredibles reference. Come on now. Get them nice and cooked up here. Yes, Cape letting Ninetales not die to genome hacking is really good too. And again, this game just like really showing, oh my gosh, we hit the 1 in 8 twice. That's so funny. This game really highlighting the importance of Magnezone being self-sustaining, so we were able to use Ninetales aggressively, but also have a second attacker in Magnezone built up. Second? And I have Ninetales on curve. Sounds lovely. And even if they have the evolution for this, they're gonna need evolution plus cape to not be torched by this in the literal sense. I think this deck might be good, Gibbers. And such a good bit of innovation around the Magnezone. I need to play it into eggs like 100 times to be convinced it's actually good, but I feel like there's a chance that it is. Yes. Do you just not know how much Ninetales cooks for? This feels like we're about to teach our opponent Ninetales text box for the first time in a little while. The gamers have forgotten. Put some respect on her name. Was a viewer submission. No, this is one of the decks I highlighted in my new decks roundup from a little bit ago. It's 2 weeks ago, I think. We're gonna go digging for Magneton here. Glam Meow. Yeah, some players have been playing Team Rocket or Team Galactic grunts with a Glam Meow as a way to thin their deck to get Garchomp slightly more consistently. I'm pretty sure it's not good. Garchomp just doesn't feel like a card that's powerful enough to be able to be all in on like that. I think you need a secondary attacker typically. Farfetch'd, Hitmonlee, Greninja, the types of things I've enjoyed. Team Galactic grunts to fish up the glam meow. Garchomp's biggest problem is dual energy. Yeah, but like you could supplement that by having things that only need one energy to attack alongside it, right? Did you just not put an energy on the active Garchomp? I guess you're 2 turns off from attacking with it either way, but Sabrina's about to feast on this little Gibble in the back. Feast, girl, feast. Okay, this, I suppose we need Magneton into Magnezone to close this out still, yeah? The way this is lined up. Maybe Sabrina Egg last turn was wrong. Oh, I guess if this is Vulpix, we could hit a Tail Whip too. Rats. Alright, we'll cape to force them to have the Cynthia, but I assume we're getting cooked by a Cynthia next turn. Yeah, I think I messed up and should have just taken hits on the active. It's close though. Alright, we need a Vulpix into a Heads or a Magneton into a Magnezone. That is, that's one of the lines. Cooked by a Sabrina here. Two Magnezones and a Research, so 3 out of 7. They have their whole deck in their hand. Do they have room for a Sabrina? What's in their hand right now? A Chomp, probably another Communication. Vulpix is also technically live. If we hit Vulpix, we get a coin flip. So we're like 3 out of 7 to win the game on the spot, and then we have another 1 out of 7 to have a 50%er. Oh, sorry, 2 out of 7 to have a 50%er. This is guaranteed to be Vulpix as well. So, obviously we could still miss here, but this is honestly pretty impressive given how much we missed here that we still have lines. Kind of a neat game overall, regardless of the result. Oh, and we got the result we're looking for. Sick. Sweet. All the things that are good into eggs you don't enjoy playing. So the problem isn't even my personal play patterns. It's let's grab the let's talk about eggs and why the metagame's a little stale for a second, just like from a numbers perspective. why it's hard to metagame this format. This is the eggs matchup table from one of the recent tournaments. So eggs is bad against Charizard, and it's a little bit bad. It's close to even against Skarmory and Gyarados Greninja. And it's a little bit behind against Palkia Vaporeon. So, like, when you click into Charizard's matchups into a lot of the other things are really abysmal, right? So you're like, all right, I beat eggs most of the time, but I'm losing to Palkia most of the time. I'm losing to Darkrai most of the time. I'm losing to Skarmory most of the time. What's another one? The Palkia Vaporeon deck. Decent into there, decent into Charizard, absolute trash against the Magnezone things. Bad against Dialga here too. So it's just so difficult to all of the decks where you're anything better than a coin flip just have awful matchups everywhere else. And Skarmory Magnezone's like, it's a coin flip, sure. And you're good. This is the best anti-meta deck. It's good against, it's a coin flip against eggs, and it's really good against Charizard. But it's also abysmal against Darkrai Magnezone, 30. Like, this is like the tail, right? You're like, all right, I can flip a coin against one of them. I can auto lose to another, auto win one, and then auto lose to another. And that's kind of the tail that, and when you look at like what the metagame percentages are, those are the big three, right? You have 20% of the people playing eggs, and you have 10 and 12. And actually, this was actually a low egg play rate overall. It's been 25 to 30% in a number of the community things recently. And similar feelings in your general matchups with other things I've tried to brew. Like, I try and brew something like, yeah, this is sweet against eggs. And then you queue into other things, and you're like, the matchup against everything else is just not good. How much are best of one events skewing that, do you think? What the data I was just looking at is only best of 3, CJ. So I'm confused by your question. Yeah, I mean, brewing's fine in the random queues, but it's just like, it's also kind of unsatisfying too. It's, for me personally, it's infinitely less satisfying to try and play things in this queue than it is in a tournament. Like, the results don't matter, the range of decks that you play against are super wide. It's just like any ladder or random queue, right? There's a reason why you see people post like, I had a giant win streak with all sorts of random nonsense in this type of queue. No, I explicitly don't look at the full event data on Limitless because it's not. The data is muddy for a few different reasons. All right, where's this energy going? They're retreating to Pachirisu. That's interesting. Blade unfortunately does not let Ninetales deal 140, so Cape keeps him alive here. My Cape keeps me alive through a Sparking Gadget though, which is nice for us. We will get cleaned out by their Magnezone on the backswing, is noteworthy. I'm gonna Communication here, looking for my other Magnemite, I think, or another Vulpix. Yes, Blaine is plus 30, kicks Ninetales up to 120. Alright, second Magnemite's not bad, as long as we redraw that other Magnezone eventually, which is likely. There's only 7 cards in our deck. I'm not planning to play in any pocket tournaments until the new set drops. We were just talking about it. I really don't like the tournament metagame. It's not super fun to brew in. Remember to get charged. The family trip was good. Kids had a lot of fun at the water park. They also had a duck pin bowling lane in the arcade area that they really enjoyed. All right, so if we find our other copy of Magnezone, Sabrina is lethal next turn. Cape doesn't really save me from anything here, yeah? Doing well, D-Price. Life's good. Got big weeks for both Pokemon Pocket and Marvel Snap this week. We got a new game mode that looks really awesome coming to Snap tomorrow afternoon, and Pokemon Pocket's supposed to have new card packs on Friday. Should be a good time. So, Snap actually has back-to-back drop weeks, Sling Digger. So there's drops that are currently going on that started last week for Snap that run until late tonight / early tomorrow morning. And then a new set of drops focused around the new game mode start up tomorrow afternoon when the game mode goes live. I think I want to hit this for 60. 80 question mark? This means that if they hit their other Magnezone, I think they didn't have the other Magnezone last turn, but this gives them a window to draw it. But if they draw it, I can tail whip with Vulpix into Sabrina plus Ninetales the following turn. So even if they find it here, I still have an out. Oh, I guess because they had the X speed, even if I hit heads here, they can retreat and then Thundering Hurricane me, yeah? Are they through both their X speeds? Only one of them. Am I Sabrina now? I just don't have a line to win. Yeah, we're gonna need the or I need them to hit 1 out of... I need to hit heads on this and then have them hit 1 out of 4 here. Is our line to victory. All right, I'm honestly enjoying this deck, so I think we're gonna continue playing it when we get back from the break. I'm gonna run upstairs and grab my lunch while some adverts roll. This one's been a fun little pile of cards. Watch it on YouTube, consider tap the like button on the live stream. I bet we get up to 500 today. We're getting close. BRB. I don't think it's remotely surprising they've been quiet about the new card release. I think they very clearly moved up their release to align with Pokemon Day. And any and all information we're going to get about it's going to come out of Pokemon Day on Thursday. In general, Pocket gives us very little notice and advance on what's coming in sets. This one is less than typical even, but I think it's remotely surprising. It's nice. Let's lead Magnemite here as a reasonable shot to be sacrificial, I think. Hey, Matsubala, thank you for the 3 years. Appreciate it. A nice double scratch gamer. Yeah, I think we just leave this one up front here. I'm gonna put this other Vulpix out in the back to play around a copy of Sabrina here. Well, obviously, this is an incredibly unfortunate low roll for them. I think the fact that they didn't have Weavile here meant they were just cooked regardless. Getting to put this up and clean them, and then this comes up, and then even once they deal with this, Magnezone is charged and ready to go. Just big hitter into big hitter like this deck is good at. And she's dead regardless here, so no reason to put a cape on it. You want a real hot piece of speculation, chat, on why we haven't seen anything from the new card pack yet? There's a non-zero chance they announce Gen 10 Pokemon on Pokemon Day on Thursday. And maybe the next card pack is Gen 10. Would be a kind of sick. Let's go. That would be crazy, I agree. You think they're going to hold Gen 10 for the 30-year anniversary? Also possible. I just Magnezone them here, yeah? Get them cooking. Because this is guaranteed to be my other Magnezone with the communication. It's just such a clean 1-2 punch. Ninetales and Zone both hit for so much so quickly. They complement each other really nicely. If you had to choose Machamp or Gallade, what would it be? I think Gallade, well, I like Gallade more in general, but I think Machamp's a bit better against Executor. So if I was playing a tournament, I would probably play Machamp, but if I was playing the random queue, I'd play Gallade because there's not a lot of egg in the random queue. Cool, Jack. Thank you for the 22 months. Appreciate it. This is kind of a sick hand, huh? Your first energy advantage, too. I think we just run him over. I've been trash canning Darkrai all morning with this deck. mean, I have the Magnezone gamer. I guess their line is just they're so far behind they just need to hope I don't have it. Is there sequence? What's their line to win this game? They can damage us and then move into Weavile. Is potentially challenging for us. But they're gonna need the Weavile right away. And so there's a big question mark of how many Weavile are they playing if they have Weezing and Arbok as well. Thunder Blast doesn't give him the option to Koga this back, which is nice. All right, Sabrina is lethal. 1 in 9. Not dead yet. As well use this here. We're not going to have an opportunity to use them up otherwise. Is there any reason to cape? We're taking 20 and 20. They still need to attack, so I think this is fine. Now I need to top deck Ninetales, yeah? I have communication, I suppose. Turn late, Sabrina. Hey, Snooky. Thank you for the 7 months. Appreciate it. Ah! That's checkmate, yeah. Darkrai is ready to clean us up here. I needed the Ninetales this turn because the Darkrai trigger. Well, I guess the cape here means the Darkrai trigger's not lethal, and then they need a Sabrina, right? So now we do this, and then next turn I'm 1 in 7 to draw Ninetales. So we are checkmated to a Sabrina. Okay, not checkmated. We have a draw. So I assume they truffle shuffle these. Which this draw does mean I can't research into the Ninetales. I have to draw it organically. That's close. What happened that only members can use the live chat now? I had a day where I was feeling a little annoyed and chat was being annoying. So I decided to toggle it to that for my own sanity for the day. And I just realized I'm much happier without having chat randomly throw constant, very silly takes at me. It's much easier to stomach the occasional silly take from people who pay for me to exist rather than constant silly takes from people who don't. It's easier to be happy and upbeat when you don't have things that are just wrong being posted constantly. Yeah, Tail Whip doesn't work there because they can switch Pokemon to clear it. A fellow Blain enjoyer. Look at that. This might be a sacrificial Magnemite angle. Just let that take some hits while we charge up in the back. A lot of the time when you're playing these single knockout point decks and your opponent has first energy advantage, you'll do this, where you just like give up one of your dorks to give you time to build your back line. We did go to Great Wolf Lodge. I actually left a review for Great Wolf after we left that I don't think there was a single compelling reason that I would go back to Great Wolf as opposed to simply driving another hour north to go to a different water park in the Wisconsin Dells. Great Wolf was like fine. Like it wasn't bad. The kids had fun, but it just like price point for price point, I'd rather just like drive another 60 minutes and get a better experience. Eagle Sight, thank you for the 2 months of Prime. Welcome back. The biggest issue with Great Wolf, and people with children will understand this, is that the cost of Great Wolf isn't just the cost to get in the door. If you have small children, you're going to have to constantly tell your children no with all the extras they nickel and dime you on, or you're going to have to spend markedly more. We did a little at column A and little at column B. We bought some of the extras and we also didn't and told them no at points, but that can be a little bit of a damper on a... Are you talking about Great Wolf or predatory mobile games? So it's funny how predatory mobile games always get dragged, but like all of the systems that predatory mobile games use have like been implemented and utilized by stores and capitalisms for my entire lifetime and hundreds of years, right? Extras at a water park. Yeah, you walk past an arcade to get in the door. Stuff like that. So like the water park's included in your stay, but the arcade is not, obviously. It cost $85 for my family of four without family of five without purchasing drinks to get lunch inside of the water park is another good example of. I don't even know if you could call that nickel and dimed, but like a burger for me, a taco salad for Christy, and then big pretzels for all of the kids without buying drinks was like $80. That type of thing. They're dancing, chat. They're dancing. And rip. Where are all of my tails, chat? They're in the bottom 7. Vulpix fighting for her life here. Alright, we've successfully avoided being heat blasted for a turn. Goodness gracious. Are we cooked? Feel like kinda cooked. Alright, gamers, I think that's going to wrap on us for Pokemon Pocket for the day. For the regulars on the YouTube side, there aren't commands over there, so I'll post the link in the chat, but we're going to be splitting our time between Pocket and Snap. We picked up some snapping at the end of last week while we're waiting for new Pokemon card packs, and it was fun. If you want to continue hanging out in Hoaglandia for the day, we're going to be streaming for many more hours. Yep, you just need to pop on over to youtube.com/Jeff Hoagland to catch the live stream over there. On Twitch, you could just stay right where you are. We're going to get switched over now. If you're looking for more Pocket content from me, I'm going to hit publish on a Skarmory Wormadam highlight on the Hoaglandia Pocket channel here while we switch over to Snap as well.